Okay, I'll kind of pick back up where I left off, but this week's on open houses, and we just want to. I know most of you all have done open houses, but we just want to go in a lot deeper that you can get more out of your open house. A lot of agents just think they show up at the house, post open house, and wait for people to come through, but there's so much more that a lot of agents miss out on that they could capture more buyers, they could capture more sellers with the open house. And a lot of agents don't, they may do one open house or two and not get much or sell anything. And then they kind of get discouraged and they don't continue. The way we need to shift our mind from that attitude in the sense that open houses are actually lead generation. It's a lead source that we can use. You know, you can, are you, the chances of you selling an open house are very slim. Now, I know Anna did one over in Jackson County. Yeah, we have too, but it don't happen much. But you are going to pick up buyers from it. Most of the time, buyers that come through open houses are unrepresented. So it's a great time, great way to pick up buyers. And if you utilize your open house effectively, you can pick up more listings, especially if it's like in a subdivision or well dense populated area that we'll go over in a little bit later what all you need to be doing. But I don't know if everybody is kind of caught up this week, if they got to watch the videos on everything. There was only like two or three short, quick videos, and then Mary Lou had the 40-minute video, the 10 open house mistakes agents make. And I'll kind of go through them really quick and then kind of what we do. And then I'll let some of you all open up to some of your successes that you've had that maybe you can share to the group or others that will watch in the future that maybe can help them. But and then I filled these out in the trap book, and then of course I've got notes that she did as well. But basically, what she had as number one, a lot of people not actively lead generating for open houses is the mistake number one. Just because you don't have a listing doesn't mean you can't do an open house. Our office has tons and tons of listings. And what you need to be doing, get on Flex, look through our office listings, see who's got some houses that may need to be a great candidate for an open house because not every agent wants to do open houses. So this is a great way to get yourself a foot in the door to utilize a house. And I know, you know, some of y'all had done open houses for me and Rachel and for some of the others in the office. Like I say, ours are, if they're a seller don't care, we don't care any house you want to do of ours are open houses. Um,
Our Meadowbrook would be a great one. It's vacant.
Yeah, we've got another one if anybody wants to do one in Corbin right now, and we're probably getting ready to do a price reduction on it. So it's in Cardinal Heights, and this would be a great one to do for
Because you can
also
do
prospecting
maintenance and
for
everything.
sellers as well. So, but that's the big thing. Just because you don't have a listing, don't think you can't do an open house. Reach out to anybody in the office. Look at if we see coming soon, or you see an agent posting, "Hey, I've got a new listing getting ready." Reach out to that agent. You know, if Jerry posts that and he don't want to do an open house and Scotland wants to, "Hey, Jerry, you care if I do it?" You know, let's all work together to get them sold. You know, and then you can take advantage of that because, again, open house is a great lead source. But is it for everybody? No. You know, pick and choose what's going to work. But people that use open houses effectively can get a ton of business from it. And there's some agents across the country that most of their business is from open houses. Because if you do them effectively, they can be a good source for, again, buyers and sellers. Number two, what she had top 10 mistakes was not incorporating virtual open houses. Now, kind of what she discussed is sitting there for hours doing a virtual open house, doing that. I wouldn't personally do that, and I don't necessarily agree with that, especially for our market. But I think we can kind of do the concept, pick a house that we've got or in the office or one of your listings, do a complete walkthrough, and just get those videos out. That's similar to a virtual walk or open house or any of the agents in there. And I think that's going to help you. And I mean, you can call it a virtual open house that you're having it. And you could sit on Facebook for a little bit, say, "Hey, I'm going to be here for the next 30 minutes. If anybody has any questions, let me know. Or if you need to see a separate room or whatnot, you know, we can FaceTime or whatever." You can kind of go that route. But in the video, she talks about sitting there for a few hours and stuff. And I think that's kind of a waste of time as far as the virtual open house would be concerned. But
Hey, I got a
number,
question for you,
uh-huh.
real quick. I seen some new stats out that is saying people are having success doing like a 1 hour open house, do pop up 1 hours. Which I know 2 hours seems to fly by pretty quick, especially if people coming in. But they're saying they have just as much success as in doing a 1 hour pop in or whatever you want to call it, versus doing a whole Saturday doing a two. Because by the time you put signs up and all that stuff, it can run you into a good 4 hours.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. If you do a 2 hour time, you need to get there, and this is what we'll discuss later. You need to be set up, prepped, and then time to take down. And then we've had people walk in right at time. We're breaking everything down, and they're there an hour. So you just got to plan. But it's a good possibility, and that would be something I would suggest test. Um, just run some tests with some open houses and see because again a lot of our experience, I mean, some people seems like they show up right as it's opening or right as it's ending. You don't get a lot of in between, so that may kind of condense it for work, but I would suggest testing it and it would make it a lot quicker and easier. But it could, if you've got a very busy house that you get a ton of activity, it could kind of backfire on you if we have. But the traffic, I don't think has been very heavy here lately. Now we're getting into the spring summer market. Traffic could increase, but I would definitely suggest testing that to see. And I've heard of similar situations as well on that. So, and number three, she talked about top 10 mistakes. She's got not stepping up your game. And kind of what she goes into in detail with that, make sure you're putting out the tons of signs with balloons. We've got balloons there that have Reliance One Realty there at the office. You can run to the Dollar Tree, Kroger, anywhere. They'll fill them all up for you very cheap.
You buy
Um,
helium tanks
yeah,
for
you can
it.
buy a helium tank. They're cheap and you'll get a ton of that. You can get your own branded balloons, whatever you want to do. But we always put the balloons on the directionals out by the roads, all that, and on the signs at the house. So that's one thing that's eye popping, grabbing attention. And then again, we've got those three feather flags there at the office. That's something you all need to be doing. They're 17-foot feather flags, and I know most of y'all have seen them or used them. Nobody else has those. They're just eye popping. They're huge. They attract, and I've seen some smaller ones. But the good thing with that type of stuff, what you're doing too, you're catching the eye of the neighbors. So that's potential sellers for later on that what we need to be doing. And another thing, what we need to be doing, and we've not really done this, and I don't think I've seen anybody in the office do, but now I've seen Weichert do this and do it effectively. Really, if we're having an open house, you need to get probably some custom signs made, like say it's Saturday 2 to 4. So put out that week, earlier in the week, open house 2 to 4, kind of go ahead and build up attraction where people's driving by. And that's a good thing too. You can brand it yourself or do something like that. And that the way, if you do it 2 to 4, get some custom signs made, just schedule all your open houses that time. That way you don't have to get different signs made for every single open house. But that way it's advertising all week for all the traffic driving by when you're having the open house. But I've seen Weichert do that very effectively on a lot of theirs. Um, and another thing when you're doing open houses, I know we put directionals out, um, for our listings and stuff. Open houses, go all out. You may want to buy custom open house signs or whatever. Put out 15 or 20. Put out two or three at every intersection. Just make sure you go pick them up because they will get gone. But go out extra and even put them out farther, other areas that people can see to turn in and really attract and draw attention to the open house the day of. And again, guys, it's not just about attracting buyers. We're attracting listings as well in the neighborhood. The more you do and the more effective you're doing that, you're doing other house, because other agents are going to be doing open houses. But if you're going above and beyond and these neighbors are seeing it and what you're doing to try to get their sold, you're going to set a precedent for them. They're going to remember you for that. And that's where we'll talk a little bit later that you need to be meeting the neighbors as well. And then I know most everybody does this when they do, of course, posting on social media, inviting people out there. If you've done other open houses, again, we need to be having a database, these people in there, invite them to your new open house as well. And that was one thing we do, or she had. Another thing everybody needs to be doing, invite the neighbors. Create a flyer, and you can just go in the MLS and go to flyer, and it will print all that. Invite all the neighbors to the open house. Chances of a neighbor buying it slim to none, but they may know somebody looking. Plus, we're wanting to build the rapport with the neighbors because we may get their listing later. So that's the big thing why you want to talk to the neighbors and get their information, build a database, keep them in touch with what's going on with what the market. A lot of them will let you set up market searches just to kind of keep abreast of what's the market doing or their neighborhood's doing, things like that. And one thing she didn't talk about on her video, and this is what we always do, we run an ad on social media. And of course, to run an ad, you do have to have um, a Facebook business page. You can't run an ad from a personal page. So we always run about 3 or 4 days prior. And if nobody's ever done an ad, I don't care to help you at all because you have to make sure it's marked um, that it's for housing or Facebook won't approve it. They got sued over fair housing here a while back, and you can only target certain interests and stuff in all age groups. Used to, it's a lot more confined, but I can help you run that. And it doesn't have to be expensive. Normally we'll run $20, $25 a day for about 3 days. And normally we hit thousands of people and we get a lot of people that saw our ad on Facebook that comes from it from there. So there's another way to really push it out. And plus other people are seeing that. And again, sellers potentially, it's just building your brand and getting your name out there more. So, and then number four, what she had was not asking for the appointment at the open house. This is where we should be trying to, if there's a buyer walking through, we should be asking for a commitment from them for the appointment. Try to set up a buyer consultation or another time to speak with them and try to win them over. That's one thing we need to really be doing, going above and beyond. And I kind of liked her idea on this. It's up to you and weather depending, but she's like meet them at the front porch, greet them at the front porch. That way you're the first person they see instead of waiting until they come in, and start the small talk and chit chat on the front out there. Kind of especially we're in the South area, the hospitality and ask more powerful questions. Again, it's kind of the forward, the family, occupation, recreation and dreams. Start asking more things like that instead of just yes or no. Oh, you're just looking for a house, or is this your first time looking? Just the basic kind of realtor they get hit with everyone. Probe deeper with these people and build the reputation with the clients, and that's where you're going to get farther with them. And it's kind of like me and Jerry were having a conversation earlier about things like this. It's all about relationships, and it's really the first impression you get from somebody. So that can help. Meeting them on the front porch, the hospitality. We've all, I know me, if you kind of meet somebody that's kind of cold up front, you kind of put a wall up that you're not necessarily forgiving or want to give more information. I'm just going to go through and get out of here and not small talk. So you really want to get it where they can talk more. And by doing those little things, and really asking for the appointment, the commitment that they see you're really wanting to work with them can go a lot further. Does I don't want to keep running on, but does anybody have any questions or anything what we went over so far? Okay. Um, Number five, and this is something we've been preaching forever, and this is part of track, not practicing scripts. There are open house scripts, there are, objections, buyers that I'm not ready to buy right now, or we're just looking ways to overcome those and create more meaningful conversations. So that's the thing. I won't harp on this too much. We've all um, assigned script partners. If you've got somebody that's not working with you, let me or Rachel know. I don't care to script or role play with you at all, and we'll work on that. Or if you want to change partners, if two of you want to get together, that's fine. But it's very important. Again, I can't preach enough on the scripts. Buyers, sellers, just real estate in general, knowing scripts. And it's not like you have to know them verbatim. That's what you're going to go, but you're going to come up with the same scenarios, the same objections over and over and over. And how you answer those and how you can respond to those can dictate whether you're going to turn somebody into a client, on how you know to answer that. And I promise you, agents that are script and role playing, they're going to get more of the business. They're going to take it away from you if you're not ready and prepared for these things. So. Number six, she had not arriving at least 30 minutes earlier. And this is kind of like what Anna was talking about. We always get there at least 30, 45 minutes prior because if we normally set up that big feather, put up all time you're stopping it, putting all the directionals out different places, hooking up the balloons, all that, it takes time. And you definitely don't want to be pulling in at, you say your appointment's at 2 o'clock and pulling in at 2 o'clock and try to do that and people's waiting, then you can't put your stuff out and you're missing potential drive-bys or people seeing that. And again, it's not looking good on you if you're trying to get business from the neighborhood, if people are seeing stuff come up later, things like that. So that's a big thing um, as well on that arriving early and making sure you're prepared. And she talks about, and this is where you invite the neighbors for a sneak peek if and it can be, especially if it's going to be a busy one, it's a good thing to invite all the neighbors, even if they're not looking to buy. Just come look. We're offering and tell them we're offering the neighbors a sneak peek 30 minutes prior to the open house, so you can get there early to let the neighbors come through. You know, let them be the nosy neighbor. We don't care. We're looking to try to get more business and capture out of this from them and build the rapport and build the database from potential sellers in the area. And number seven, she had not previewing similar homes. And this is not just necessarily with open houses, this is just in general. If you're doing an open house, we need to know what the competition is. We need to know what's on the market. So it's a good rule of thumb. She suggested at least five preview at least five listings prior to the open house of something similar. That way, if somebody does talk about that house or this, you've been in it, you understand, you know, well, this house offers this, that doesn't, you're actually becoming the market expert. You have the market knowledge that a lot of agents aren't doing those things in previewing. So it's a good thing to do. And this not, it's just in general, you know, you see a listing, you want to go preview, ask the agent, hey, can I just do a preview if I get a buyer? Most of them's not going to care, as long as you give the seller plenty of time or things like that, and you're accommodating. But and that's why again I'll talk about being on the MLS daily to know what's selling, what the market price is, what's listed. That way we have that information. Because anytime you're out, people ask, well, you know about this house, or what's price per square foot selling. You have to constantly have that information and that data kind of tucked away, that you know that. So. And number eight, and this is a big one, not following up with open house visitors. And this is a lot of things like which you should be having either if you're not in Sierra, which I think everybody here is, you can actually, and if you don't know how, remind me and I can show you, but um, you can have them sign in where it will shoot it directly into your Sierra database. And you just go to your web page, go to that listing at the end of it, type in open house and hit enter, and it brings up a sign in sheet with your info. And as soon as they type in, it's got a set of questions and they hit submit, boom, it throws it right in your CRM. So it's a great lead source for your database as well. And excuse me, or if you're not doing Sierra or you don't want to do that, you have a sign issue. This is the biggest problem. And again, most of your money that you're going to make in real estate is going to be in your follow up. And this is where most agents fail. So, yes, let me get a drink real quick. Excuse me. So, most agents, of course, they'll do good showing the property, talking at the open house. But when the client leaves, they don't ever call. They don't ever follow up. They don't find out any feedback or anything or trying to win that client over. And that's where you can take it a next step up is really following up or they're in your CRM, set them up on a drip campaign. I've not looked on this personally, especially with the Blue Door, and I need to check. If not, you can still set something up yourself, but there's probably an open house action plan in there that we can set them up, or you can create custom tasks to follow up. You know, you need to start follow up with these people weekly, see how their search is going, see if there's anything else they want to look at. Again, build that rapport and follow up.
Got a question.
Uh-huh.
We had some, well, I don't know, last open houses. Sometimes we'll have other agents will send their people there, and so they're always like, I've already got an agent, and like you're trying to get them or something. You're like, okay, cool, great. You don't really follow up with those guys because I mean, that would be interfering, right?
Yeah, those people you're not going to follow up, and especially if you'll see on that sign-in sheet, if you do it like through the Sierra, it specifically asks them if they're working with another agent, and that needs to be something. Whether you're doing that or a sign-in, you need to ask every single person, are they working with an agent? And if they are, great. That agent's great to work with. I know they'll take good care of you. You don't follow up with those, but there we got to ask that question so we know. But yeah, that's the fine line. If they say they're working with somebody, that's just directly.
You don't
Uh,
mess with them.
yeah, we don't follow up at all with them. Now what you could do,
with their agent.
follow up with their agent, say, hey, such and such, like Jerry, say, Anna call Jerry, hey Jerry, you had such and such come through open house. Thank you for sending them over. I just want to
Yes.
follow up. If you have any questions or they need anything, please let me know. We'd love to help them, and work with you. So and again, you're building a rapport with that agent and you're showing that agent, hey, I'm not trying to steal your client. So that's the way you
Right.
go about that and not follow up personally to that client. So.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. I didn't know that before, and I just literally read that the other day, and I was like, "That's great to keep that camaraderie, I guess, with the other agents too."
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. So, and then number 9, she had not inviting neighbors to the open house. And this is where I was going back, where this can be a lead magnet for sellers. You need to go around and talk to all the neighbors, invite them personally. My suggestion, if you don't have time, you can do a mailer, but this day and age, the post office is very slow and it's expensive. I got a package sent today. um, I know it came toward the end of last week we weren't in, but it was mailed March 16th, and I just received it at our office. It may have been in the mailbox a few days, but just got it today, regular mail. So it's just the postal service is ridiculous on stuff, and vice versa. I'd mailed to this person the same address, and it's just taking forever. So I wouldn't suggest mailing unless you're planning it like 2 weeks out or something. But I really suggest this needs to be more on a personal level with inviting the neighbors. I think you need to have a flyer. I think you need to door knock, and I think you need to personally invite them. Say, I want to personally invite you to the open house.
I think Anna and Roxy have done that a lot, haven't you?
Yeah, I know they've done it.
yes, we there's a little fine line. I'm not sure. I told Roxy, I was like, I hope we don't go to prison over this. Okay, like when we were over in Somerset, we just basically, it was a nice neighborhood. We took off walking. We had to print. Sorry, I got a piece of chicken in my mouth, so you might hear a little sound. Um, we just took off walking the neighborhood, and it's kind of nice to go with somebody else instead of being by yourself, especially if you're a woman.
Yeah.
But we just took those flyers that said, "Hey, pick your neighbor. We're having an open house. Yeah, yeah, yeah," and we just stuck them in their. They had little mailbox holes, but then some of them didn't. So we kind of like popped open their mailbox and threw it in there. But then I was like, I don't know if we're gonna get in trouble over that, but we did it anyway. What's the rules on that?
You can't. You're not supposed to put them in the mailbox.
Yeah, you can't put anything in a mailbox.
But
It has to be mailed.
You could just stick it in their front door.
Oh, we didn't go to the front door. We just was like throwing it, in their little. They all had like fancy mailboxes. So
Yeah,
okay, now I know we don't want to go to prison.
yeah, because where the mailbox is kind of federal, and that's it has to be mailed in order to stick something in a mailbox. They could get you. I mean, they'd probably just warn you on it, but yeah, just like I say, you can tuck it in their front door, hang it on their door handle or whatever, or throw it in their yard or whatever you need to do, but just no
Throw it
mailbox.
in their yard. Okay.
Yeah.
I'll tell you where you can put it at, Anna.
Okay.
You can put it on the pole as long as it's not touching the flag, or that it can't be hanging off the outside of the mailbox or on the inside. But if it's on the pole going up to it, it's fair game, because I got in trouble for that once before, so I know the guidelines.
Oh man. Really? So you mean
Yep.
the stick that the mailbox is sitting on?
Yep, that's fair game. That don't belong to the United States government, just the mailbox itself.
Oh wow. Well, these were all real fancy. They were all bricked and had I'm talking about, that has the
Yeah.
yeah. So yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'd probably still refrain from anywhere on a mailbox. I'd probably try to stick it in their door or something somewhere on the house where they'll see it. Would be my personal take. Just that way, nothing come up. Even though if it is legal on the mailbox on the pole, I would probably still do the on the house or whatnot. Because the goal is like you should be door knocking anyway. So if you don't get them, then just slide it or stick it in their door or something where it's going to hold. Or take you some tape, a piece of tape, and stick it on their door. That way if they're not home and it don't go anywhere, little things like that. So,
Well,
but
I'll tell you something else. Don't put tape on nobody's doors. I've done that too, and they get irate
yeah,
about
that
that.
could be. I mean, you could stick it in the crease, or if they've got a screen door, put it where it's got on it too. So,
I tell you what you can do
my
though.
luck, I'll put tape in it to peel their paint off or something. So,
I tell you what you can do though. You can put it on their doorknob. But I done
yeah,
that
I mean,
one.
if you have like a hanger, like those door hanger, like we have, but most time if you're doing the open house, is going to be a flyer type, unless you had something made every time. But that could get kind of pricey and getting it in time for the open house. But
You
I'd
could beat
say
on
just
the door and say, "I know you're in there. Open up."
yeah, or I tell you something you could do. Um, you could get like a little goodie bag,
Uh-huh.
have custom made, and then you could put the flyer, maybe something, your card or something in it that you can hang on the door. Something like that, if for people that's not home, would be
Yeah.
something like that. So, but that's the big thing is I think and we used to mail some if we don't have time, and we'd had people come in with the mailers we done, but I think if you can actually door knock, because this is the portion that it's lead generating for the seller. We want to go around. We actually want to introduce ourselves to the neighborhood, to the sellers, that hey, we're doing this open house. And again, that's planting the seed for them that you're going above and beyond what most other agents do, and you're actually coming in canvassing the neighborhood and stuff. And then you want to talk to them. Do they how long have they been here, lived here in this residence or the area? Do they have any plans in the next year of selling? And most people will be honest and they'll open up about that, and that's where you can build the conversation. And this is too where it's just like me and Jerry was talking earlier. Most time real estate is not instant. This is where you're starting that follow up. They may be thinking, well, we are planning on moving this fall. Our kids are moving such, and we're going to follow them. So, we're not doing anything now, but boom, you've got a potential lead for this fall. Yes, it's not instant, but this is where you start your follow up game and start working them for later. And if you've followed up with them for months going on, who do you think they're going to end up listing with? More likely, it's going to be you by providing information, providing value, and staying in touch. So that's the big thing. A lot of when people do the open houses, they don't visit the neighborhoods. They don't talk with the sellers. They only talk to the buyers or put the flashy stuff up or this or that, and not actually canvassing the neighborhood. And then again, too, these sellers ask them, do you care if I send you a market update to keep you update on this neighborhood or the area, what prices are selling for? Get their name, email, phone number, set them up on a market search. You can just do a market search, set it up, every 90 days or something. You don't want to bombard them every week, but just set it up every 90 days where they are getting comparable properties similar to theirs. Ask to preview their house, things like that. Little things like that is where it's going to get you in the door, and it's setting that precedent again for uh, the neighborhood when it does come time for real estate. They are remembering you. So let's see. That was number 9, and the final thing she had for top 10 open house mistakes agents make is not seeing open houses as a way to attract sellers, which I know we've kind of covered that in through here, but I've heard agents say it. I've seen it with other companies. They just think it's a waste of time. I don't hardly get any buyer. Again, most of the time you're not going to sell something from an open house. Use it as collecting buyers, use it as potential listings for sellers, but you have to work it. You can't just go put on Zillow or the MLS, we're having an open house, and go sit and expect people to come and you're going to get more business from it. You have to be very proactive. It's just like any type of lead generation you do. You have to utilize it effectively. And most agents aren't. They're just throwing a sign up, going sitting in the door and not talking to the neighbors, not talking, following up with buyers after the open house to see how things are going, or actually pursuing that. So that's the top 10 things. That was this week. It was kind of short and sweet on open houses. And I know most people here have done the open houses, but I think if we start adding these little things in, it can really take everybody a step up and get, an extra deal or two out of it. And I think open houses are a great way to get get business. Like I say, there's a lot of agents that do them all the time, and you can test it. I know most open houses are done on the weekends. Um, you can test it during the, especially where we're getting into summer. I think Ann and Roxy done, so I don't remember how y'all's turned out, but I think you all done some evenings. But of course, you don't want to do them in the wintertime when it's dark at 5 o'clock and you're doing open house and people can't see the house or the yard or nothing. You want to do it in the summer or it's still light till like 9 o'clock if you do like a 5 to 7 or something, or you may want to, like Anna suggested, the hour, you know, right in the evening, just quick and things like that. But it's a great way. Open houses is a great lead tool to get business, not only just buyers, and that's what most agents associate open houses with, just buyers. And it's a huge listing tool that you can get in Canvas neighborhoods, but you have to put in the work. You actually have to go talk to neighbors and invite them and build the rapport. And again, it's in the follow up, getting their information and sending them market reports, drip campaigns, getting them into the houses, preview them, and then letting them see you go all out the day of the open house, what all you're doing to try to get that house sold, that you're going above and beyond all these other agents. So, and if the time ever comes, they need a realtor. I'm going to remember Kirk, or I'm going to remember Scotland, Jerry, or Anna. Man, they went all out for, you know, Sue's house down here and trying to get it and got it sold. I can't believe everything they've done. I've not seen that before. That's where it sparks and takes off from situations like that. So, but that was the main things for tonight. Like I say, I know tonight's kind of short and sweet, and that's like one. Like I say, we didn't door knock a whole lot. We know made flyers, but I do think the running the ads, social media, a lot of people aren't doing that. I think that really helps get more people as well. And then of course you just want to make sure all the portals you're putting it on the MLS. That way, the open house. That way, it's syndicating out there as well. And then go in all the, you need to be members of all the classified for sale groups. We post in all those too, the open house dates, not just our personal pages. Really blast that thing out there days before and leading up to it, and making it really an event that you're really passionate about and you're pushing, and it's just going to get more activity. Even if that day you may not get anybody show up, people see what you're doing. They're seeing people are paying attention on the backside. They're going all out, really pushing that. So, but that's really, like I say, all I've got for this. I wanted to open it up if anybody else had some tips or things they've done at open houses or they thought that worked, or that we may have missed in this that they can share with the group.
Or question.
Yeah, or questions.
I think one thing I would add to it would be what everybody's usually uncomfortable with, which is going live
Yeah.
while you're there. So just incorporate every tool that you have. But I think the one of the great things about open houses is it really develops and hones your personal skills, and talking with the different personalities and things like that. So I always try to use anything like that that's uncomfortable, just to kind of hone those people skills, I guess you could say, and get your uncomfortableness out, because I think a lot of people are what do you call it when you're introverted. Work that introvert out, because I'm introvert extrovert. There's times where I'm introverted, I don't want to talk to people, and then there's times where I'm extroverted, but I'm like a mix of both. But it just kind of helps develop that and pushing yourself to do things that you're uncomfortable doing. And something else I seen that somebody did on open houses was, maybe because if you get a whole bunch, I've had some open houses where you just get like a ton of people start coming in. You're like, yay. Is give them like a clipboard, and as they go through the house, have your living room, have your bedroom, maybe even have those out, and then they could say what they like, what they don't like. I don't know, just like maybe some comments. Say, hey, would you care to fill this out for me as you go through the house? And then they can stop back by on the way out, and you can, hopefully have a conversation with them on that. So I feel like sometimes that kind of opens it up, especially with shy people and people that are nervous or getting ready to buy a house or looking, creeping around somebody's house. They kind of get creeped out about it. But just anything like that, just to break the ice. That would be a tip I
Yeah,
think would work.
that's a very good thing to do, and I wouldn't have thought of that on regular open house. Now we do something like that when we do like broker or agent open houses. we have a sheet that we want people to leave feedback or anything about the house pricing. So that I think that's a very good idea on the public open houses
Yeah.
as well to do
Yeah,
that. So,
just design it on your house. And two, something else I think you got to touch base on is when you're, let's say you're representing the seller, is that seller's wanting to know how that open house went.
mhm.
So, and that's a fine line too, because you don't want to discourage a seller, if they didn't get good feedback or nobody shows up. But be prepared to. It's almost like sometimes you have to be a cheerleader. I think I may be wrong. When somebody, because they get down and they feel like, man, but also that I think that's an important aspect too. So, but if you have those sheets, it can kind of say, hey, we had 3 people show up and they gave this feedback on whatever the room is, and I think that's, I don't know, it's helpful. I think because it's hard to, you're
Yeah,
tired
and
from doing it.
it makes it easier when you have to have those tough conversations with the seller, especially if it's overpriced and you're trying to get price reductions and they're seeing from the public what's actually they're thinking on their property. Especially if
Yes.
somebody is very sentimental or emotionally attached to the house, they think it's worth gold and they don't want to reduce it. But if they see in writing from other people, and that's what we do with the agent open houses, we get other agents and we use that as a tool to get a reduction.
Right.
A lot of times, if we have it that way, because we can tell the seller sometimes, but sometimes they need it in black and white to really
Mm-hmm.
get home to get that reduction, no matter how much we've told them. If they actually see it from the public or other people,
Yes.
it makes
Agree.
it a lot easier. And then I know, which I normally don't do lives, but I should have, I didn't think of this in the open houses, but every open house we do, and now there's been a few we've been so busy I couldn't do it, but most of the time I'll at least do a walkthrough or a video from the open house. It may not be a live, but it's a great time to do that, especially if you've got downtime. And I've had some of them, get almost 1,000 views just from, a quick couple-minute video. Now you don't want to. I've seen some of these people doing lives, and I look later on or something. It's like a 15, 20-minute video. Don't do that. Don't sit there on live forever. Most of the people you're going to tune them out and all that. But I think if you do a quick walkthrough, hit the highlights, things like that. Again, social media people have a short attention span. Unless you just got something that's funny or great that people are just attracted to, they're really going to watch it most of the time. I try to keep it a couple minutes or less on a walkthrough or just hit the highlights to try to get them out there and invite them. So that's
Uh,
all I've got with it. Go ahead, Ann. I'm sorry.
I tell you one more funny thing. One time, Roxy, a lot of times they'll tell you as a realtor, they want you to be like an expert in your neighborhood, go to these events, do lives or whatever. One time we went to the 4th of July thing in Corbin. Never been there, whatever. So you bring your camping chair. Well, me and Roxy's like, okay, we're going to be the newscasters for this 4th of July thing. And we did not know we done this, but we went live in one of the marketplace groups.
Oh, Lord.
We had like 100,000 views.
Oh, wow.
See,
That is funny.
so if you accidentally go live in the Kentucky Homes for Sale group, I'm just saying. Okay, I'm just throwing that out there. That's all.
I'm surprised with a lot of those. You can set those settings where they can won't allow lives and stuff. So I'm surprised they probably didn't know on that, but that's funny. So, but yeah, I like to say something like that and that got advantage. But like I say, I mean, I'm not usually one to post and get tons of video likes and the comments, but I mean, we've done a few. I'll look later on that day and it's had 1,000 views. I'm like, wow. So again, it's just putting your brand out there, putting people are seeing you, what you're doing. You're going the extra mile, doing the things for the open houses, doing the things for the sellers. And a lot of times, even if you're not getting activity, you have to look at this. I'm trying to help get this sold for my seller. Even if we don't want to do it, sometimes it's just showing and you're going the extra mile to really push the seller. And again, it helps if you're doing an open house, you don't get nothing, then we can push for that price reduction. If we're doing multiple open houses, and I suggest too, a lot of times don't just do one open house up. You definitely want to do one when you first list it, but don't just have that the only one. You want to kind of during the course of the listing, I think, host multiple open houses over the life cycle of that until you get it sold. And then it does help too if it's not selling to get the price reductions that you may need, but not just make it a one and done open house on one listing. So offer multiple times because again, you may have hit a time that somebody may be interested but can't come to it, because we do limited time slots on it. So, does anybody else have any other questions or anything? Okay. Well, that's all I had. Like I say, I appreciate you all for being on tonight. Don't want to take up any more time than what we have to on this. And then I know kind of the criteria for this week, was for the track was to schedule 2 open houses. And like I say, we've got that one on Meadowbrook.
17th Street.
We've got those both are vacant. Amy would probably do one on Forest Circle. Let somebody to do that again. We've got several of ours if anybody wants to hit us up for some. And then there's the office. There's a ton of listings, or if you've got listings coming up, it's a good time to start scheduling because I really think it's picking up. I know I see some people say they're slowing down and stuff, but I know the rates are kind of hit and miss right now. But it just seems like we're seeing the contracts come through. We're seeing the buyers and the listings coming through. It's been really good for coming up, and we're hitting that spring market. So I think it's gonna. And right now is the time to be stacking listings that they're just going to keep piling up and can sell. So, but that's all I've got. Like I say, oh, I did want to show real quick. Let me see if it's. Let me find it here, and I'll share my screen. Uh, they did have an open house checklist in there. Let me share this real quick. And this is in the track course. So this is kind of a guide that can keep you here. But, it's got 5 days before. And this is a good thing. And like I said, Weikert's really good with this open house sign or writer in the yard with the day and time. You can email blast to your entire database. That's something, especially if you have your CRM, you could email everybody there. Post to all social media platforms. Make sure it's added to the MLS so it syndicates. 2 to 3 days before, and door knock them in 25 homes. The day of, which they've got just minimum 4 directions. I've seen some people put up to 20 or more, just to create attention and attraction. And then, like she's got, like Anna said, the live 30 minutes before. But but this is a good little guide you all can look at, and it's got time blocking things you need to be doing, and you can download it or print it off. But it's in the track workbook on. Well, it's in the video course, the actual course for week 7 on open houses. So that was the last thing I wanted to show real quick. So, but that's all I've got, guys. I hope you guys have a good evening. If you need anything else, let us know. And I know we're kind of running right through track, and I really think it's helping a lot, and we'll just keep going. We've got, I think, 5 more after this one. So, did you have something, Anna?
No,
Okay. All right. Well, you guys have a good evening. Take care. And if you need anything, holler at us. We'll see you.
thank you.
Bye, guys.
Bye.